You know, there are a lot of ways to measure Main Street sentiment, but one of the best for me is the Conference Board reading on consumer confidence. The index was largely drifting for the whole year, just kind of drifting down, but the last couple of months it has begun to lift off big time. Today's reading of 104.1, the highest since August of 2006. Now, the move was driven by a surge in what they call present conditions, which, by the way, lends some credibility to the assumption that maybe wages are finally on the move. Moreover, there's a greater sense that jobs are becoming more available. Now, the lone red flag in this report was a sharp decline in response to, quote, good time to start businesses. That had a sharp decline. Still, the report was super impressive as it not only put the brakes on a serious slide, it allowed stocks to decouple from oil, which had a disappointing segment. Again, another missed chance for OPEC to curb production. Technology stocks rocked today. Lots of money came out of utilities. By the way, the utility XLU index still up 17% this year. That underscores all the anxiety that has really clouded this entire year. Now, despite the move in stocks, yields on the 10-year slumped today. Global investors are really worried, and I think they're fretting about concerns over those European banks. So in light of the presidential debate and all of the outside pressure for the Fed to hike rates, what's really going to happen here, particularly with banking anxieties coming in and the recent spat of subpar economic data out there? I mean, listen, I know there's something to the notion of the Fed being political, but more than anything else, Yellen and company, in my mind, have boxed themselves into a corner. Here to discuss, Brian Brenberg and Betsy McCaughey. Brian, thanks for joining us. You know, the most recent economic data, for the most part, all came in below estimates, including 151,000 jobs. And yet, there's a lot of pressure on the Fed. Donald Trump scored big points last night, saying that Janet Yellen is political. I think the Fed is political since they were blamed for losing George Bush the re-election, but by the same token, where can they go from here?
Yeah, I really don't think Trump needs to do that. This is really a case of the Fed watching the numbers and saying they're simply not good enough for us to move rates up. And Trump really should be focusing on that, I think, and saying the problem here isn't the Fed, the problem is the Obama economy and, by extension, the Clinton economy. So I don't think you have to go down the conspiracy theory political road to actually make that case.
That is the irony, of course. If the Fed raises rates, that means the economy is doing better.
That's right. And actually, I heard you talking about Lester Holt before, and he was very consumed with fact-checking about the birther issue and about who opposed the Iraq War first. I wish he had focused in on asking Hillary Clinton, who's been campaigning around the country saying corporations have to pay their fair share. Ask Mrs. Clinton, what is their fair share? Corporations here already pay the highest rates in the world. And Donald Trump has said, let's slash those corporate tax rates and jumpstart this economy. We know that's what's needed, but she's demagoguing the issue.
Well, my theory on that, guys, when she talks about profit sharing, I mean, your wages, your profit share, in my mind, I honestly believe that progressives in general would like the American public to give them the power to reach in there and become a line item on the operating income statement. Not the tax part, before taxes, something for the greater good.
Well, it's ridiculous that you'd have a presidential candidate talking about how to manage compensation for private companies. If it makes sense for a private company, fine, profit sharing. But why in the world would she assume she's in a position to know how to run these companies? And that's the problem here. You have too much top-down intervention in the economy, and that's what's wrecking our economy right now.
And you're going to see more and more regulation if Mrs. Clinton becomes president, because she's talking about regulating bonuses, regulating overtime, regulating child care, regulating time off for various things.
And of course, Obamacare will definitely be here to stay, and we've already seen
Obamacare, that's right. The federal government, Uncle Sam, will be in every boardroom and looking over every manager's shoulder.
Betsy, you've spent some time with Donald Trump. You know, it's been a long time since we've had an official recession. I realize certain large segments of the population never came out of it, but an official recession. If he were elected, how could we avoid that? How could we avoid what we feel? It feels like we're already somewhat on course.
We are heading toward a recession because you can see that business investment has been down for 3 consecutive quarters. And when businesses don't buy another truck, they can't hire another driver. When they don't buy another computer, they can't hire another worker.
Well, can we detour? Could President Trump, could he be sworn in time to divert that? What do you think, Brian?
He's got to get focused on the things that are really going to change the economy. That's reforming regulation, reforming taxation.
But they swear him on January 20th. The recession is in March. Does he have enough time to get the steering wheel and divert it?
Expectations matter. Yes. And he's got policies that both sides can agree on, like business taxes. Focus there. He needs to start there in the next debate, not end there.
Thank you both very much. Appreciate it. Hey.